Hi everybody.
Hey, we're Andrea.
And Andre.
And we're the Freeway Tribe. We've been traveling in our RV for about 8 months around the country, from Virginia to Florida to Texas, Arizona, Utah, and we were going up through Idaho, and we heard about a pilgrimage, a 55-mile pilgrimage that some people told us about when we were in Boise, Idaho, and it was about 10 days out and just a little further north up by Coeur d'Alene, up by the Canadian border, and we were all in when we heard about it. So we actually changed our journey, changed our plans from going west to Spokane, and we headed up to Coeur d'Alene, which is about 5 hours north, 5 or 6 hours north from Boise. And we just boondocked. We have a video on that if you want to check it out. We boondocked in Coeur d'Alene in that beautiful, beautiful lake countryside. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And waited for this pilgrimage to get started. And so we wanted to talk to you about the pilgrimage. If you've never been on one, I just highly recommend it. We're so in love. Once you go on one, it gets in your blood, and it just like you gotta keep going back. It's definitely in our blood. We had done one. The last one we did was in Louisiana. We did a 10-mile pilgrimage on a Saturday, and then the one before that was last September, and that was a 65-mile pilgrimage in the Adirondacks, or not the Adirondacks. Actually, it was moved to Pennsylvania. I digress. This pilgrimage was the Cataldo Pilgrimage in Coeur d'Alene. You can probably...
It's 25 years old. Like, I've been doing it for 25 years. And it goes through the most beautiful countryside in Northern Idaho. I went to the New York
Even if you're not a
pilgrimage,
Catholic,
and
you should go for the view.
Very beautiful, but this pilgrimage almost blew it out of the water.
It was beautiful.
The second day in particular, the second part of the second day, second half, you went through terrain where they couldn't even bring the porta potties, where they couldn't bring water, so you had to stock up. You had to make sure that you were ready to go 8 miles or 6 miles or however far it was before you saw civilization again. And it was just stunning. It was beautiful. It was through the mountains, through the hills. It was steep on the side.
Really well organized.
Green, beautiful views. It was, very well organized. You had the brothers singing, which was beautiful. You had the priests walking. They would hear confession. And the whole pilgrimage, it was just, I don't know. It makes you a better person. I really, truly believe
you get your
that.
graces for your family. You know, the graces you need to go through this life, to be raising teenagers, homeschooling, marriage, business, all the things in life, family, all the things that come up. Your special intentions. It's just a really great place to go. And
even the intention, or particularly the intention of this pilgrimage was
to end communism.
To end communism, yes. So it's really
which is a really
good cause.
Yeah, exactly. This and wow, and people came from all over. They came from California. They really came from all over to come to this pilgrimage.
Oregon.
We were able to park our RV on the parking lot of the church. They have a church and school there, and they were so gracious to us. They just told us to park by the big yellow bus, and we camped there the night before the pilgrimage, and then the next day we didn't know exactly how it was going to go, but they do have a website, and we'll put the website below. But everything is just so detailed, so organized. Any questions you can have for that pilgrimage, they've got it answered there, like what to do with your luggage, what to pack for food, what to wear for clothing. So all of that is on their website. But that morning we went to really early mass. It was maybe about 7:15, and then we stepped off about 8:30 in the morning.
It was breakfast after the mass. A talk, organization of the brigades, and then yes, we left
and step off,
and we walked for 25 miles or so, and it was tough. We had our whole family and our dog with us because we couldn't leave Freya behind, so we had to take her. So we had a stroller with 2 or 3 kids sitting in them. It started raining. We hadn't walked very far. And then we first heard the thunder and thought, okay, what is that? Hopefully...
Everyone just kept walking. No one stopped. No one batted an eye. They just kept going. And I think pilgrims just know, yes, God's got us. We'll be fine.
Exactly.
This is just the penance that we're given on this particular pilgrimage. Because there was some pretty loud thunder that no one seemed to worry about. But it was fun. And we were in one brigade with the girls, and our 3 boys went in a boy brigade. They saw the teenage boys, and they ran to be with the guys. They didn't want to hang out with us. So
I think we were in a brigade with everybody who wasn't from
the parish. There were a lot of
parish,
Californians, yeah. And you were free to just, top brigades and stuff. They're very, very easy with whatever you want to do. But yeah, that was an amazing first day. I just couldn't believe we kept going and walking and walking and walking. And 24.5 miles is a lot. But they're very organized. So you have the walkers, the people who sign up to walk, and then you have all the other people who work behind the scenes to make it happen. And I actually think that that's the harder task.
Yes,
it's kind of the unsung heroes. They don't get any glory or anything, but really they make it possible. They do all the work behind the scenes to set up those campsites for you, the food for you, the porta potties. Something they did at this pilgrimage that was really cool is instead of just handing out water bottles, they had a water truck. So the truck had this giant tank
with
on
cold
it,
fresh water.
And it had piping
delicious.
around it. And you can turn on the nozzles. There were probably 6 places where you can get water or dispense your water.
6 on each side also.
6 on each side. It was a lot. And then so people would just bring their bottle and fill it up. It was genius. And it was just nice to see like no waste and no plastic. And they put a lot of thought into it. Yeah, so the 24.5 miles, we wouldn't have been able to do it without those help, because there's a van that literally is just driving right alongside you. If anyone needs a break, if anyone needs anything, they're able to pick them up. And so we actually had 3 of our kids. We kept the 2 babies with us. Romy is 2, Bodhi is 1. We had them with us the whole time. But the 3 middle littles is what I like to call them. They were in the bus a lot that second. So we wouldn't have been able to do it without that support and that help. And they were so gracious, so kind. And actually our dog really needed a lot of help because, again, 24.5 miles. And we didn't know what else to do with the dog.
It was hot. Besides the rain, it got really hot. And I think she was suffering. And she's not used to, like neither of us, none of us are used to walking 24 miles in a day. That's not something that you do very often. And so she was walking with us, like she's running around, she's fit, but I think this constant walking was tough for her. The heat, boxers are not good with heat, so she ended up in a wimp wagon as well. And they call it wimp wagon because none of the kids want to actually go in.
More
they
the
all
boys,
want to walk. The boys, yes.
Yeah.
They just want to walk the whole thing and don't want to be left behind and don't want to.
And they were so
in
kind. They let the dog in the van. Everyone was so gracious. Even the first few miles, we saw the other kids in the brigade because our boys had Freya in their brigade, and we saw the other children just taking her, walking her, playing with her, just giving her a lot of love. The people really make the pilgrimage. I think we met the kindest, most wonderful, beautiful people, amazing families on this pilgrimage. So just in that first day, we walked with Tom Latham. We later met his wife Anne Marie. We actually hung out with them on their boat after the pilgrimage. Ginger and Mike, just wonderful, wonderful people. After the 24.5 miles, what was so interesting that first day is we had actually taken that route many times in our car in the 10 days that we were boondocking waiting for the pilgrimage. As we went into Post Falls, we would go from Coeur d'Alene, drive all the way through, and it was about 25 miles to get into town. And that first day we literally walked from the church all the way to almost that boondocking spot where we were at. So it was really surreal to me that we even did that. It was incredible. And then we got into camp and they were so organized. What is the property? It's just from people who,
I don't know. They just I don't know if they spoke to them or so, but they agreed to let us stay there. And it's a tree farm. I think the owners, the couple, have been married for 54 years or something incredible.
And they had built that homestead, and that was inspiring for us to see that. That's what the kind of legacy we want to leave behind, for sure. And just to see what they created and what they built and how they actually spoke to Andre and I for a little bit when we got there, and they said that it was nothing when they got there, and it was like
it was a dump, so they had to start really from scratch.
It was incredible what they made.
And now they had like several homes on there, like apartments or something. I don't know if it was for their children or was rented out, but
they had an outdoor garden. They had a winter garden. It was just beautiful. Just set up so nice. And then when we arrived, Andre actually said to me, "Do you want a G&T?" And I was laughing, but I also thought that's kind of mean. And and he's like, "No, I'm serious. They have a G&T. There's a lady there who sets up like a bar."
On the first
and
day.
The second day she was there.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
she was. Yeah. with a G&T bar, and they give out gin and tonics, and it's just amazing. And then they have dinner ready for you. And so again, they're the unsung heroes, because I was like, I will walk 24.5 miles if you give me a gin and tonic and you feed my whole family for me at the end of the day. Sign me up. I'll do that any day. To me, that's the fun part. But my feet were really sore the first day. We take NRF2, so there's glutathione in there, so the muscle recovery is really great. But the blisters, the shoes I wore were like really bad. I wore sandals and my feet were like not good, and they were blistered and swollen. And the next day I stayed behind with the kids, partly because there was no way we were taking the kids through the woods, and that would have been impossible.
Even the first half of the walk, we probably, would have been possible, but not with 3 children in a stroller. We would have just.
It was hard to say no. It was hard to see Andre walk off the next morning, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check out with the kids. So we ended up going to the water park in town, but it actually was really good. It was good for me to also recover, rest my feet, let them relax a little bit, and it was good for Andre not to have to worry about me and the kids and the carrying somebody. That was really exhausting, because we had carried Bodhi on me a lot. It was nursing, carrying him. Then Romy is all over the place, and then it's actually difficult that they want to walk when they're 2, because
that's at their pace, not the pace exactly. Of the pilgrimage. But,
there's something beautiful about a pilgrimage. When you said the word pace, what makes it hard, I think, is you're going not at your own pace. You're going at the pace of the pilgrimage. And so if it was just you doing the 24.5 miles, you could take a break when you wanted to. You can stop, but you're really literally going at someone else's pace, and it's really refining for your soul. Like it's and I think it makes it harder. You just can't bandage up your foot when you want to. You have to kind of go with the pace of the pilgrimage. So it's really beautiful. I don't know if that made sense, but
so like every day, the second day started with Mass. I was outside. It was beautiful.
It was
in God's church. Yes, it was. The sun was shining. It was beautiful. And then we had breakfast.
They did a great breakfast. Can we just talk about breakfast?
Yeah, let's talk about breakfast. It's very simple, but we didn't very good.
Yeah.
So they had oatmeal, they had yogurt, they had a lot of fruits like peach, like pears.
Coconut to put on it.
Coconut, craisins, brown sugar.
Boiled eggs, bananas.
Like
peanut butter,
fruit.
and they really made sure they were quality ingredients. I was really impressed, like a natural peanut butter, and really put a lot of thought into what they were giving us for breakfast, and prepared with such love. Really, really awesome breakfast. And then the night before, I don't think we said, but they had potatoes for us.
A baked potato bar.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. Yes, and then on the second day we started walking, and it was pretty much all uphill and windy roads, but it was on a flat surface. It was gravel or tarmac, but it was hardly any cars coming for most of the time. But it was going uphill, and it was tough. It would have been tough with the stroller and with, our 7 children.
I think they were done. I think they did really well that first day, and then ask them to do the same thing again the second day would have been too much. And
Max and Joe did really well on the first day, and Pauline, Romy, and Bodhi were sitting in the stroller the whole time
and being carried. So the next day, I just let them run at the park, and that was nice. Coeur d'Alene has a really nice water park in downtown Coeur d'Alene.
Then we got to the halfway point, so we had a longer break there, and then after about 45 minutes, we started walking the final part for that day, and that was I think the most fun part of the whole pilgrimage.
I missed it.
You can see in the video, you jump over some mounds of dirt and then climb down, and then on the other side up again, and down and up, and I couldn't believe. I think they cut the road off that way, so nobody would park their vehicle in there and spend the night or so. It was incredible, but the pathway after that, it was beautiful. trees. Like you had to be careful when somebody was walking by and pushed a twig back, and then you had to watch out that you didn't get it into your face. And you had some beautiful views. You had like on the side of the road, it was going down steep. It was beautiful.
Were you in the brigade with the boys the second day?
Yes,
with the boys.
Walked with the boys, with our boys.
Noah and Sebastian are too old.
And even those boys, they knew all the songs in Latin, and we sang probably 6 different versions of the Hail Mary or Ave Maria, and it was beautiful to see. It was really nice. And like I said, on that part of the walk, there was no bathroom. It was God's bathroom, and there was no extra water. But I think Noah and Basti lost one of their water bottles, and they had finished their water bottle 20 minutes after we started walking. So they were without water for biggest part of 6 hours.
I joke that our family charity is like leaving things behind for other people to find.
Right.
We just here's some. Enjoy it.
But like.
And then you came in.
Nobody was hurting.
Yeah.
It was like physically not very hard. Those not 6 hours.
You didn't have blisters, did you?
6 miles or so we walked, and once we got through that, the last part was all downhill, so that was a bit tougher. And there's different muscles that you use, so it was quite hard. Like walking downhill, I think is harder than walking uphill because you don't use those muscles very often. And yes, then we got into camp. You waited for us. It
was fun talking to, and so it's fun to cheer the pilgrims in as they come in, and by the end of day 2, that's like how many miles under? That's about 45 miles they walked in 2 days, and you're just seeing them and you're cheering them on, but you're like, oh, this looks really bad. Some of them are looking really, really bad, hurting. Yes. It's surprising.
I think one brigade, we overtook them, and they kind of got lost, and they came back 20 minutes later. So.
You never know what your penance package is when you go on a pilgrimage. Let's just say that, or like you got the wrong, whatever it is. But anyway, we cheered them in, and so we have some footage of that, and that was really fun. But the amazing thing is, as tired as people looked when they came into camp that day, they were so happy. They had a beautiful dinner that second night. They had the most delicious tacos. I don't remember if it was chicken. I think it was chicken.
Mm-hmm. I think
tostados.
It was chicken, yes.
Amazing. So delicious. Really filling. So
like
good.
Taco bar. Pretty
was
much.
it rice? I don't even remember right now. I think I took a picture of it.
Yep.
Rice, beans, the toppings, everything.
Salsa,
scallions, salsa.
2 salsas, sour cream, cheese, everything was there. Mm-hmm.
Delicious. And someone said, did you notice the cleverness? The toppings for the tostados is actually the same as the potatoes. So these ladies are genius. They have this down to a science. Mm-hmm. We didn't know until someone pointed it out to us. But anyway, they had this delicious deal. The bar was back up. But everyone kind of came to life. They set up their tents, and suddenly all this action started. Rugby games picking up, people playing, people gathering around a bonfire to sing. That property was gorgeous. That was another beautiful family who lent their property for the pilgrimage, and it overlooked the lake, and so it was just so soul filling. The company that you're in at night, so you're together and everyone is just taking off their shoes and running and playing and having a lot of conversations. We met Scott from Our Lady of Victory Homeschool, which is amazing because that's a homeschool program my parents probably used as one of the first homeschool programs, probably about 35 years ago or something like that. So it's one of the initial ones. It's like a Becca. It's like Seton Homeschool. So we met him. He has, I think, 10 or 12 children. Beautiful family, incredible people. Another beautiful thing is, the campfire and the singing. They had people with guitars, and that fills my soul.
And people come together, and everybody joined in. Everybody started singing.
And then at one point they said it's time for lauds. I think it was lauds, the prayer.
I think it was the first thing that happened. Everybody came in, and they said the priest sat down, and the seminarians and the brothers. They sat down and started singing the Lauds, and
or they called everyone for it, a special prayer, but it's a Latin prayer, and what was so beautiful is everyone knows it.
It's set in 2 groups. One I don't know, one
You have the
starts
recording,
it
right?
and the other one responds to it.
But everyone knew the response. It's the beautiful thing about our faith. You know, it really struck me when I went to Germany to with Andre when we were dating. You know, even though I didn't understand German at the time, we were in the churches together, and I understood the language of the church. So I was still explaining to him, like, oh, that's that saint, and that is that, and this is this, and that's the Stations of the Cross, and this is this. And so I understood the language of the church at the time. But these guys take it to the next level. I mean, they know these Latin prayers inside, outside. They know all the responses, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see and be a part of.
And I think that's the benefit of being in a parish like that, that's so big and that has daily mass. Like we went after mass, after the pilgrimage, we said, okay, we got to go to mass more often, especially as we're here. And I don't know. We went on Monday. I went first, then you went to the next second mass. So somebody was with the kids, and we did that a couple of times.
It was
and
beautiful.
It's
It was quick. It
beautiful.
doesn't take very long at all. It's usually every time I do something, like when I work out in the morning, I'm like, that didn't take very long at all. Why is it such a big deal? It's always in our head, right? It's so much bigger deal in our head. But anyway, that was the end of the second day. We have some video footage that Andre will probably put in there. That was just. I hope you can capture that, like, soul filling, getting your belly fed, the good company. It was just such a beautiful night. It was so epic. And then we didn't stay in the tent because there was some mold in our tent. We had put it away.
In Texas, after it had rained.
We had company, and that was like our Airbnb. We had our company in our tent, and the next day was moving day. It had rain. We had to pack it up quick, and we never took it out to
never
shake
took
it
it
up.
out to dry it, and it started getting moldy.
And so instead of staying in the tent, actually the boys begged us, and so that we let them stay in the part of it that wasn't so bad. They really wanted to stay and be a part of the whole pilgrimage, but we went it back at night to be in our RV at the church parking lot. And so we came back the third day, got there in time for Sunday morning mass, which was a high mass out in that same beautiful field overlooking the lake.
That was probably the most beautiful mass that on that pilgrimage, or the whole time. I think since we started our trip, really, because it was just so beautiful. Like you had the lake in the background. It was a beautiful choir. It was a Sunday, so it was always a high mass, but it was a beautiful high mass, and it was just beautiful. It was really.
It really
nice.
was so beautiful. And then we walked. We had 10 more miles to go. And actually, it was that morning that we met Mr. Barb. And we didn't want to leave. We were so in love with the people. We just on this high. And Mr. Barb that morning told us that we could stay.
I think somebody had invited us already. Also, we have
already a couple invitations,
yes.
and we wanted to stay longer. And
we
Mr.
just didn't
Barb,
know where to stay.
That morning
if
at
our
breakfast,
spot was still free.
Yeah,
so.
that morning, because there's only one spot we knew of. And that morning, before we took off for the last day of Sunday, Mr. Barb told us, I've got a hookup on our property, and that's another story. That's
we
part of
were saying, we've got an RV, so we need somewhere to stay. And then he was just overhearing us and turned around. I've got an RV hookup.
Yeah.
So,
later we learned that this man is a legend in his own right.
Yeah.
He's pretty phenomenal, a special man. So that was really incredible, and we took him up on that offer. But that last day, many miles?
It stayed way longer than we had, and really.
How many miles was it the last day?
The last day was 10 miles.
10 miles.
Just to the Cataldo mission, all mainly on road, but also still beautiful scenery along rivers and water and woods.
It was beautiful.
And,
that was painful for me. The last 10 miles.
Because your blisters
my foot was swollen from the blisters and the way I had been walking, and it hadn't fully recovered. And my left leg is prone to getting blood clots. It's always been that way since I was young. And it just felt really off, and it wasn't nice. And then I was carrying Bodhi, I think, the whole time, nursing him, trying to keep him comfortable. It was kind of a painful last bit there. And you know when it's painful is when you don't really celebrate at the end. We all went to Cataldo, to the mission, to take a big group picture. And I was about halfway there from the parking lot to walking up the steps to the mission. And I thought, I didn't bring my camera. And then I thought, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I was so hurting. I didn't want to go back, and I wouldn't take an extra step.
I had the GoPro, and so I've recorded some.
Did you?
Have some footage, yes. But they also took one big group photo of all the pilgrims.
Hopefully we can get
right
a
in front
picture.
of the church, and we need to get that still.
We're probably the last ones to get in that picture. Hurry up, sit down if you want to be in the picture.
Yeah.
And then they snapped it, but
yes.
it was rough. But I just forgot to say, this pilgrimage gave us ice cream cones when we arrived there.
Gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic. They had ice
popsicles.
Ice popsicles, you know, during the first day. They had some again the second day.
On the third day, I had ice cream as well.
It was over the top of taking care of us. It was really just...
For the little and for the big kids. So everybody got the ice cream.
And it's amazing how big kids are little kids then, or grown-ups are little kids. We're like, oh, ice cream? Yeah. Oh, I want some of that. It was just the most beautiful thing. And then after that pilgrimage, they bussed us back to that initial Rose Lake where we had mass that morning to get to our cars. There was always great communication if you needed your car. They would say, we're taking a shuttle back to get to you to the last campsite so you can have your car. And then everyone met back at the church. It was a little different this year than it had been other years. Usually they have a big celebration at the mission or mass at the mission, but it was different this year. But it was our first experience, and it couldn't have been better in our opinion. Like, people would say, oh, it's too bad you missed it. It was this way before. And we're like, no, we only know it this way. And it was, you can't go wrong. It was just epic.
Right.
And then we went back for, like a parish dinner that was also provided, a parish picnic. And so there was a beautiful dinner there Sunday, and we stayed a few hours. And then, of course, we slept at the church that day. And it was about Monday afternoon that we went on our way and went to Mr. Barb's RV hookup, which was really awesome. Ended up staying there 2 weeks. So we have a video about Coeur d'Alene, that whole area of Idaho, and just how it took our hearts by surprise. We really loved it. So yeah, check that out. But let us know, have you ever done a pilgrimage? If I hope that this inspires you if you haven't, to go do one. Maybe start with a short one, like a 10-mile one. The ones that are overnight, I think, are even more beautiful because that camaraderie you get at nighttime, that campfire, that singing, that really getting to know each other, eating together. You know, even if there isn't someone bringing a bar to a pilgrimage, usually people will bring a wine or something like that, and you'll have, you know, some social time in the evening, and you know, it's just really beautiful, the whole experience, and the kids, you know, they grow from it too, and it's beautiful to see that, you know, because they're not just doing something hard, they're getting a lot of graces. It's a spiritual walk, and you know, they're going to confession, and they're examining their conscience, and you know, mortifying themselves. They're hearing the talks.
They're helping each other out.
And you can see that. And Noah is so social, our oldest son, who's 14, and he thrives in that. So it's always good to see him with good companions and a good atmosphere like that. And you know, he's a good boy, so he knows, you know, what that's really good for him. And it was great to see him enjoy that. And then our second son impressed me that he did it. Actually, both of them impressed me, but Noah, I knew by now he could do it.
No, I expected it from Basti too.
From Basti too?
Yes,
yeah. And then Max did really great the first day. Yeah. So go to the website. I'll put the link to that Cataldo Pilgrimage. If you are in Idaho area, Coeur d'Alene, or you are anywhere in the surrounding area, make a special trip if you can to get to that pilgrimage, because it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yes. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope to see you again soon.
Like and subscribe.
All right. This is us from the Freeway Tribe.
Signing off.